Hey everybody, coming up on Sports Central, a very special show. Hall of Famer Marnie Cobb is going to be with us, head coach of the Florida Marine Raiders, Michael Mink. And if you've ever wondered about CrossFit and what it takes to be a competitor in CrossFit, Jason Varnadore is with us today. Stick around, don't change that channel. We'll be back right after this. Hey everybody, and welcome to Sports Central. I'm Mark Jackson. To my right, the very scholarly-looking Mr. John Oney. Glad to have you with us today, John.
Great to be here, Mark. Appreciate sitting right seat next to you. This is fantastic.
I'm telling you, this is an honor and a pleasure. We have a Mutual Admiration Society going on, everyone, and we also have an Admiration Society for many of our sponsors that make all of this possible, including...
We sure do. Sunsplash Vacation Homes, segment sponsor.
Okay, there you go. Sunsplash. And good folks up there with the vacation rental homes. And, you know, that has really, John, become a popular, not necessarily alternative, but sort of an alternative to hotels and motels, people that want to stay in a home, and particularly the foreigners that, and when I say foreigner, I mean that with all due respect, that they want to experience a real American home. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of cool.
You're absolutely right.
Speaking of home, we had some hometown champions that we celebrated and honored just a few nights ago at the Polk County All Sports Awards and Hall of Fame ceremony. This is the best of the best in Polk County. Professional athletes, amateur athletes, prep athletes, college athletes, little kids. It was cool.
It really was, and this is such a special night for Polk County. And it's something that is near and dear to our hearts as residents and people who work here for the county. And we've got a really special guest, one of our recent inductees to the Hall of Fame, Marnie Cobb.
Well, she participated. If you don't know Marnie, that is her beautiful face. And we do happen to have a connection with her husband, too, one of the best writers in all of Florida. And, you know, when you talk about journalists, John, and not to take anything away from Marnie here, but there's not a lot of credit given to that institutional knowledge that a writer, a sports writer, brings to the table. You know, a lot of young kids coming up, this, that, and the other. You don't have the institutional knowledge, you're still one notch down.
That's absolutely right, and Mike Cobb's been great.
You bet. Well, Marnie, welcome.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
How nervous were you the other night?
Very.
You didn't show it, but I kept glancing over my shoulder to look at you, and you look cool as a cucumber.
No, not at all. I was glad the bright lights were on, so I couldn't really focus on anybody. I could just read my little cards, and that was fine.
You know, I have to ask you, and somebody that has attained a Hall of Fame status, you look back on your career and the many accomplishments that you've had, I mean, over a long and illustrious career, what would you have to say would be the highlight, other than the other night?
Okay, after that. Not sure. There were lots. There really were a lot. Sharing it with my family. I have a wonderful family picture of holding my daughter on my hip while I'm coaching a team and talking to Don Bridges. It's a great picture. He had hair.
No, that was a long time ago.
That was a while ago. It was dark here, too. No. But just all the lives that you touched through the years, that people thank you for being their coach. The time they spend with you is special, too. Okay. The kids are really the special part of it.
You know, Marnie, you've been involved in sport for a very, very long time. And maybe tell the audience a little bit about what kind of got you started. What was the thing that said, aha, I want to continue this career?
Well, and I kind of alluded to it in my speech. I came to Florida Southern to be a math teacher, and they gave me a scholarship part-time job in the PE department, doing really secretary work, but that was okay. And I met all those people and decided that I wanted to be a PE minor. I still wanted to teach math, but I wouldn't mind teaching PE too. And so I did that and had a great time with them. And then after just my first year of teaching school, women's sports began. And the principals called us in and said, somebody's got to coach this and this and this. I was already reffing volleyball in the Catholic School League when I was a student at Florida Southern. So I wanted to keep being a referee for a little bit. So I took junior high basketball at Bartow Junior High. I was a basketball coach for 3 years. Well, I married somebody from Indiana, so how could I, not know a little bit about basketball?
How can you go wrong with a good Midwestern guy?
That's it. So, I really was okay with that, and plus I got to keep reffing. And after a couple of years, 3 years of that, I said, no, the high school would, I know the kids that go there because they would come through the junior high where I taught. And so I became the volleyball coach. And 40 years later, well, 30 years of coaching later, I
so you were
retired
hooked.
from that.
You were
I
hooked
was
at that
hooked.
moment.
Oh yeah, I was always
great.
hooked on volleyball. But then my junior high principal moved to the high school, and then he said, will you come over here as athletic director? And I was like, what? And we had a girl as athletic director that year, but she'd never been a head coach. And she was leaving the system for her family. And so I thought, well, yeah, that's another challenge. That would be kind of fun. And 15 years later, I said, all right, enough of this. Let me just, relax and enjoy a little. So yes.
What other sports were you coaching over the years?
1 year.
How many are there?
Several. Well, not really. I coached, before my children were born, I coached the cheerleaders at the high school. I was coaching volleyball and I coached the cheerleaders, so basketball, volleyball, cheerleading. I also coached tennis for a year. They couldn't find anybody, and he said, oh, don't worry, you'll be home before supper. Never. But that's okay. There was a great team. They handed me an absolutely fabulous team that won the district, went on to state. It was great. And then as athletic director, I coached a soccer game one night, because the coach was suspended for something. Not by me, but so I coached that. I'm 1-0, so that was okay with me. I stopped at that point.
Hey, it's your career, one of the career
1-0, I was like, okay, enough of that. And then I started as an assistant with the track team just because we had a few disabled volunteers, and I put my name in, and then when the money came in, I would give it to them. And then a bunch of different things happened and people left, and suddenly I was a head track coach. And I don't know track, but I'm the organizer. Mm-hmm. And now I have some great coaches who know track that work for us too. So I still keep doing that. So,
that's, you were at Bartow for 30 years or so, coaching volleyball. Mm-hmm. And when you look at volleyball, to me, it's really a very pure sport. There's not a lot of technology that changes things, not like in other types of mm-hmm. sports. But throughout, we were talking about a historical perspective in sports and how important mm-hmm. that is for professional riders. But it's also important for a coach. And as you take a look at that span of 30 years, how has volleyball changed?
Oh, goodness. It has evolved completely. It started out with 6 girls, and when I started, Bartow had a very old gymnasium with a very low ceiling. And I would tell my girls, don't serve underhand, because if the ball hits the ceiling, it's out of play. Right. So serve overhand, partly because it was a skill thing, but also because we had a low ceiling. The first time somebody served underhand to us, my girl caught the ball and said, you can't serve underhand. Well, yes, you can, but I didn't want him to. But then it grew with the libero coming in, the free player for defense. You couldn't touch the net, but now you can. Well, the ball can, things like that, that it's a much faster game now. Okay. And the kids really have become, I want to call them whole athletes. They can't just play the back. Well, a very good defender can just play the back row all the time. Big, tall girls can just play the front. But when they started limiting the number of substitutes you have, things like that, it made the girls become players all the way around. And it's just a lot faster game now. When we started, we played 3 games to 15, the best 2 out of 3. Now they play to 25, and it's the best 3 out of 5. And it still only takes a little over an hour to play a match. So it's a lot faster now, and I like that.
Marnie, you were also one of the first women athletic directors in the county. Tell us what that means to you.
actually, it meant a lot because at Bartow, everybody works together. And you don't just stand up there and order people around. It doesn't work that way. You don't last. The lady that preceded me had been my own player, and she was my assistant coach, but she taught at the high school, so they had her do it. And it was very hard for her because she had never been a head coach and had really no idea about some of the things that you have to let the head coach do. And some of the things you have to be in the background and say, you know, I just want to be there, just whatever you need, let me know. The FHSAA evolved through all that time too, with the responsibilities that you have, stuff like that. And I always tried to take as much off of my head coach, like if we were hosting a game or hosting a regional or something like that, they just had to go coach. I would take care of all that other stuff. And I think that's important. It's a huge secretarial job besides. The paperwork is unbelievable for, are they eligible? How much paperwork do you have to file on every kid, on every team, stuff like that. It's a huge job. I marvel at everyone who does it. It's really something else. It's a lot of work. Yeah.
You know, when I was a kid, when your husband Mike and I were kids, because we're more seasoned sports fans.
No, nice word,
Yeah,
seasoned.
seasoned.
Okay.
You know, they didn't have all the paperwork, and you were talking about the, you know, the change in speed, and you know, a few of the rules in volleyball, and so on. We've been looking back. You look to the future. What does it hold?
Oh.
What are your goals?
Mine?
Yeah.
I actually am only teaching for another couple of years, and then I'm going to retire and enjoy traveling with Mike. I think we'd like to visit every baseball stadium in America sometime. Just
You're a baseball fan?
Oh, sure. Mike played baseball at Florida Southern.
Oh, I know, but
yes, we'd like to do that. I'd love to go to the College World Series in baseball, especially if one of my kids is playing there. He's on Florida State's team, and I'd love for Josh to be there. Because really, for me, it's all about those kids. I love collegiate sports of anything.
You college football more than NFL?
Yes.
Wow, okay.
I have a kid playing for some teams, and as the kids come through Bartow and go to play places, I follow exactly what they do and that kind of stuff. So yes, I do like college better than pros, but I don't mind the pros. I won our family fantasy league this past year.
Wow.
Very good.
Yes,
Man,
I did.
I think something we ought to put on
Yeah.
on the internet or on
Yeah,
our website.
new part of her bio as well.
Yes, I know.
Marnie, certainly, you know, we're all proud that you've been honored the way you've been honored, and we wish you all the best
Thank you
of
very
successes down the road. And,
Thank you.
always remember us.
I definitely will.
Yeah,
Yes.
2 years when you retire.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly.
You can keep your eyes on
That's
Mike.
it. Yeah, no. He's off playing softball. Don't be silly.
Playing in the senior softball
Yes,
league,
he
and that's
is.
probably more competitive than the other stuff. You
It
watch
is a
those
lot
guys
of
play.
fun. Yes, that's a lot of fun.
They've got some talent.
They really do.
Absolutely.
They really do.
Marnie, thanks again.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it very, very much.
You bet. Well, everyone, you know, we had an opportunity the other night to celebrate it was a tremendous evening, and superstars from around the county, really from here, that are superstars around the world as well. And one of those inducted, his name is Mink, inducted, that is, into the Polk County Sports Hall of Fame. And he has a tournament, and several tournaments, if you will. The last one, just a week or so ago, was called the World Amateur Baseball Association Championships. And it is an exciting event. We have some great footage, and it's a testament to the quality of coaching, not just from Marnie, but also from guys like Mink. Check this out. John Oney and Mark Jackson. We'll be back right after this.
The WABA has been doing events in Polk County and other places, but exclusively now in Polk County, to bring amateur baseball players and their teams to this area. And what we have this weekend is an international invitational tournament. We have 18 teams here from Georgia, Florida, Alabama, and they come to play and be seen as prospects. The idea was to promote baseball in Polk County, to also bring recruits to this area, because I coached baseball in college for a while. And our college coach from Polk State College is here today trying to get players. But David Saliba at Winter Haven High School, Tommy Taylor at Auburndale High School, Jason DeWitt at Lake Wales High School, these guys, we all work together to bring these events about.
Nice job, nice job.
I'm playing for this team for 3 years, and one of my dreams on this team is to try to get to college with a scholarship. And I'm hoping this team will be able to help me succeed in that, and I also want to go and play pro ball.
Players come, people love to watch them play. So usually an entourage of parents come with the teams. As you can see right here, we have a group, a nucleus of parents who support this one team, and we have a nucleus of parents down on the other end supporting the other team. Well, that's the case on every field here. We're at beautiful Chain of Lakes Park, and by the way, you know, this place really looks good right now. It just breaks my heart that this is going to go away, but it really looks good, and hats off to the city of Winter Haven.
Find something you can drive, kid. Find something you can drive.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Sports Central. If you're just joining us, I'm Mark Jackson. To my right, to your left on your television viewing screen is Mr. John Oney. And we had a very, very special guest, Marnie Cobb, that joined us last segment, and we have another one coming up. But
first, we want to thank our sponsor for this segment, Best Western Auburndale. Thank you for your sponsorship.
Absolutely. And you know, it's right close to Lake Myrtle, kind of like that.
Right down the road, yeah.
Wow.
2.5 miles.
The sports athletes and their families like it even better.
They do.
But anyway, you know, ladies and gentlemen, at the beginning of the show, we mentioned a little bit about CrossFit. And what is, well,
Do you do
kind of has
CrossFit?
been for a while.
Yeah, do you do it?
Uh-uh.
No, not yet. We should start, though.
Just this.
It's a little bit of everything from what I'm told.
Yeah, well,
But we've got an expert here.
We definitely have an expert here, and it is all the craze, although I've never tried it. Know a little bit about it, but not a whole lot. But I mean, it's everywhere. So it's the latest, it's the greatest thing. Jason Varnadore. And Jason, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
You bet. CrossFit, how'd you get involved?
Well, I tell you, I had a friend of mine that tried to get me involved in CrossFit for years, and I kept putting it off, because I was intimidated. I heard all the horror stories about it, but I finally sucked it up, and I went and tried it, and I fell in love with it. There's nothing like it. The camaraderie that we have as a CrossFit gym, or a box is what they call it. It's
the gym itself is called a box?
There's a unique terminology that CrossFitters use. It's like their own language. The gym is called a box. The workouts are called WODs, the workout of the day. And
WODs.
The WODs, yeah, very interesting. So we could have a whole conversation. A CrossFitter could have a whole conversation, and a non-CrossFitter,
No one will know.
what is he talking about?
Yeah.
Kind of like wakeboarders and skateboarders.
There you go.
I mean, they have their own language.
Yeah, all the tricks and stuff in skateboarding, you have no idea what
it's
they're
like,
talking about.
Yeah.
So you've turned this passion of CrossFit into an event.
Well, I haven't. The gym that I am involved in has, Chain of Lakes CrossFit. They're hosting this Central Florida CrossFit Games at the Chain of Lakes Complex in Winter Haven. It's a great event. It's a 2-day event. They invite athletes from all over the state. We've even had athletes from Georgia, I believe, come and compete to test their fitness levels. It's an awesome, awesome event.
So for the a WOD, a little careful, but for the WOD, like a wad of money or whatever. But does that change every day, and how does that translate into a competition? Because I'm not exactly sure what you guys do in your CrossFit. I mean, there's strength, there's endurance, and those types of things. But how does that workout then translate into a competition? How do you compete?
Basically, we'll have to go back to the gym and the WOD. Each day you go and you train, they have a WOD that's written on the board. Okay. And that WOD is a list of exercises that ranges from track and field exercises to powerlifting to gymnastics. And they combine it all in one WOD that may last from anywhere from 5 minutes to 45 minutes.
Okay.
And you compete against yourself, compete against the clock. In an event, you're also competing against the clock, but the other athletes are competing as well, so you may want to compete against some of the top level athletes. Mm-hmm. But the interesting thing about CrossFit is it's not just about the individual that comes out on top. Mm-hmm. It's about the individual that's competing against themselves. It's not necessarily the first person that finishes that everybody's cheering for. It's that one individual or those individuals that's giving 110% all the way through the workout, that lays their heart and soul on that field after every WOD.
Yeah, and that's very similar to when you look at other endurance sports like triathlons. You can be a triathlete, mm-hmm. and it doesn't matter what level you're at, you're still competing amongst the professional divisions. So you may have your own personal goals, but it's the fact that you're competing in an event that maybe a Lance Armstrong competed in, or whoever else. So it's really all about the personal customization and
right.
reaching your own goals, but in the same effect, you're at this great event.
Right.
So really interesting.
Well, we were talking about the endurance, the strength component of it, aerobic, anaerobic, all those different components. But I would imagine with CrossFit, particularly in the competition, you're getting athletes from all walks of physical activity, bodybuilders, as John said, triathletes or biathletes or whatever it may be. Is that the case, or is it pretty much limited just, focused in on CrossFit alone?
For me, that's the most interesting part of CrossFit, and the coolest thing of CrossFit is you can have a novice CrossFitter come in that is not the best at all the exercises, but they come in and they give 110%, mm-hmm. and they're part of the family. Mm-hmm. It's a family. We like to say a community, but it's a family atmosphere in the box, and there's just nothing else like it. So yeah, we have all different walks of life, different fitness levels coming to the gym.
So as you get ready for the for the Central Florida Games, second year doing this. Can I compete as a beginner?
Absolutely, and you'd have a great time.
Mark, we need to get involved.
They even have teams. You could be on a team.
What do you think?
Give me the dates first.
You going to be busy that day?
I might just have to be. Better call Jim Freeman.
It's July 12th and 13th. It's a Saturday and Sunday.
Okay.
And it's from 8 in the morning until probably around 4 p.m.
Fantastic.
Wow.
And that's at the Chain of Lakes?
Right. It's going to be actually at the baseball field. They're going to utilize the field, so it's the real deal. It'll be absolutely awesome. The energy level is going to be unbelievable. They always have loud, inspirational music playing. The fans, the crowd there cheering on their favorite athletes. There's nothing like it. It's hard to describe. You have to actually go and observe it to actually.
Is there a website people can go to?
Sure.
Or a phone number? Or
there's a website, centralfloridagames.com.
centralfloridagames.com. That's an easy one. Very easy.
Yeah.
Yeah, good stuff.
How many athletes this year?
Probably around 150.
Really? And from all over? Or?
From all over Central Florida mainly, but there's even athletes that are out of the state. It's a popular event.
And I would think, if I'm a CrossFitter competing, especially in my first or second event, I'm probably bringing family.
Absolutely.
And bringing friends, and they're going to come out and root me on. Is that true?
Absolutely. There's a lot of competitors who are coming to Polk County and staying overnight, staying in hotels. They're there at the complex all day long. So.
Who else is going to be there? What other groups that are involved?
Other than all of the CrossFit gyms all over Polk County, and there's a ton of them, and some CrossFit gyms around Central Florida. The big highlight is the Polk County Sheriff's Office is going to be there. They're going to have a display of their equipment and their gear, and their reason for coming out is a special reason. The last day, the last WOD is a hero WOD, and if you know anything about CrossFit, a lot of the workouts or WODs are dedicated to fallen firefighters, law enforcement officers, or military individuals. Okay. And this hero WOD is dedicated to Matt and Diogi, who were killed in the line of duty, I believe in 2003. And this is one of a kind. It's the first hero WOD dedicated to a Polk County law enforcement officer, and a first that I know of that includes a canine. So we're really proud of that. We're proud to honor Matt and Diogi and the other law enforcement and public servants in Polk County. And we're excited to have the sheriff be there as well. He's going to come and introduce the hero WOD, and we're all excited.
Oh, so Sheriff Grady Judd going to be in front of a camera once again.
How about that?
Yeah, imagine that.
Maybe he'll do a WOD.
Yeah, well,
Get him out there to do a WOD.
It's funny because people all over the country know who this guy, know him, and I'll get questions. I'm up in Wisconsin or wherever. You go, hey, by the way, you're from Central Florida. Did you know that sheriff there, Judd or something? Grady Judd. Yeah. Yeah. They know who he is.
And for him to come out to the event is going to make it special. And I think what you're doing with the folks doing there with Matt Diogi and that memorial, I think that's going to have a lasting legacy for the event, and certainly a springboard for other events to who are you going to honor next, sort of thing. So I think that's very, very admirable.
We're excited, very excited.
Okay, somebody that's interested in CrossFit, and we promised our viewers a little earlier that we'd fill them in a little bit. How do they get started? So say somebody's in a couch potato, or they're like John, in good shape, in strength and endurance. Well, you're in pretty good shape.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
I got a little of this really because nice, I know your wife watches.
I try. She's watching probably right now.
Yeah, and she needs to know that you're well respected. You're around the community.
Yes,
being fit. Anyway, how would somebody get started?
Well, I tell you, they need to go online and do some research and find out what CrossFit box or gym works out for them. My suggestion would be to call Chain of Lakes CrossFit, obviously. That's my box. I love it. There's nothing else like it out there. And come in, and what they do is they put you through a little physical fitness test to see where you're at, and they start you out very slowly. They'll show you the very basics. The trainers there, or it's very hands-on. You're not just thrown to the wolves, so to say. They're right there with you. You're not going to do anything that's going to be uncomfortable or going to hurt you. The other members of the box there, they're all there for you to cheer you on and support you, whatever you need. So it's an awesome thing.
Yeah, it's a great atmosphere, and certainly this isn't a trend anymore. This is CrossFit's here to stay, I think.
Absolutely.
And we hope to see it grow continuously down the road.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, one real quick thing, because we just got like a second left here, but we've watched the endurance sports, the 5Ks, the 10Ks, the 13.1s, all that type of stuff grow exponentially over the last, what, John, 5 years, I would say. Do you see that possibility in CrossFit?
Absolutely. CrossFit's it's on ESPN now. They have the CrossFit Games. Rich Froning, the 3-time champion of CrossFit, he's one of the most popular athletes out there. It's here to stay. It's becoming, for CrossFitters, it's a way of life. It really is.
Cool. Kind of an addiction.
Yeah, it is.
That's good stuff, though. Jason, thanks a million.
Thanks for having me.
That is
Thank you.
really some good, cool information. Again, the date of the Central Florida Games, CrossFit Championships, July
12th and 13th.
12th and 13th, and people can go to
CentralFloridaGames.com.
CentralFloridaGames.com. There you have it, everybody. More information about CrossFit and the Central Florida Games, you need to check that out. Jason, once again, thank you for joining us. And, ladies and gentlemen, there's so much going on right here in Polk County. It's phenomenal. You talk about sports and athletics, John.
Absolutely.
And one of the things sports we love to cover is golf. That isn't necessarily why John is here, although John is a PGA pro, scratch golfer, and all that type of thing, and with the LPGA and all sorts of different stuff.
I am, but really Polk County's home to some great golf courses and
some
some great
world's
instructors out there, and we've got some golf tips coming up with
Absolutely. Matt Jordan from Streamsong. If you haven't been to Streamsong, you got to check it out. But Matt Jordan took a little bit of his time to help us all out with our own golf game. Check it out, everybody. Mark and John, we'll be back right after this.
Hi, welcome to Streamsong Resort. My name is Matt Jordan. I'm one of 2 PGA head golf professionals here at this lovely resort. What you see is this green over here that I'm going to be shooting a shot here and teaching you about the short game, specifically the bump and run. This golf course has been constructed on 100% sand, so what you have is firm and fast conditions. What we're looking at is more of a ground game where we're going to hit the golf ball low and bump it so it runs over to the hole versus something that's an air attack where we hit it high. Because the ground is so firm and fast, you're not going to have very many held shots, so you want to bump it and run it up to that hole. For this shot, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make myself get closer to the golf ball. My feet are what's called an open stance, so I have my left foot, being a right-handed golfer, slightly back behind my right foot. I'm going to choke down on the end of the club here, and what I've done is I've picked a pitching wedge so that I can hit this low. When I make my swing here and I set up here, I'm going to push my hands in front of the golf ball. So I'm taking my pitching wedge and basically turning it into a 7-iron. From here, I'm just going to have a straight back and straight through stroke so it looks like a putt. So you can see I barely landed on that green and it rolled all the way out to that pin. Thank you very much for joining us with this tip. I hope it was helpful. Streamsong is a beautiful resort, and you can see it's very unnatural in Florida with all the dunes back here. You need to come out here and check this out in person. It's just an amazing place.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Sports Central. Mark Jackson along with John Oney. And John, did you learn anything there? You could be up there teaching.
Matt did a great job with that. Yeah, no, we can always use the extra help.
How do you like Streamsong?
Oh, I love Streamsong. Yeah, it's got 2 great golf courses. Fantastic shape all the time. I mean, you go down there.
It's like a carpet.
It's an experience.
Yeah.
That's all I have to say. It's an experience.
Yeah, well, make sure you check that out. And if you're in need of a great golf lesson, think about Matt Jordan down at Streamsong.
Yep.
John?
Great segment sponsor here, The Ledger. Heading over to our 3rd segment here with Michael Mink.
Absolutely. And Michael, I understand by virtue of the fact that this trophy that probably weighs as much as I do and not quite as tall, but close enough, that congratulations are in order.
Oh, most definitely. Yeah, it was a great victory, a great national championship to play in front of 8,000 in St. Louis, and 3 years of hard work to have such a great night. And then the next day being Father's Day, and my daughters were with me, so it took me a week to get home, but it was just a very blessed, rewarding night. And the next day, the Father's Day, was even better.
Yeah, that's fantastic. You've definitely got some nice hardware here, and
Yeah.
I'm sure there's some celebratory drinking out of that thing by any chance, maybe here and there. But
yeah, we're actually passing it around to it's going to it'll be at El Forno on Monday.
Okay.
It's going to
That's
go
very
all
cool.
through our sponsors, and we're going to let everybody share it. It was at Lakeland Center for a week. July 7th, we're at City Hall. We're going to name it Marine Raiders Day.
Yeah.
So it'll be at City Hall on the 7th, and just we're going to let everybody take a share of it, and because our sponsors, our fans, everybody contributed to our this organization being around for 3 years and now going to a 4th year, which is no one's ever played 4 seasons in the Lakeland Center. So that's a historic
Very much
fact
so.
there. So we're glad that the program's moving players up and now winning national titles. So we're moving forward.
I understand that you had the opportunity while you were playing in the X Bowl, and the score was 60-48, which is impressive. But you have the ability now to add a few new words to your vocabulary because of the St. Louis fans.
Oh yeah, yeah.
They weren't too happy, I guess is my point.
Close to 8,000. I think it was 7,876, which was
Really?
the atmosphere was just electric from the beginning and warm-ups. St. Louis comes over to our side in warm-ups and tries to intimidate us, and our guys weren't ready for it. We actually prepared for St. Louis for the last 5 weeks.
Yeah.
We started with Alabama win, and then we reeled off like 5 wins in a row, and 2 and 3. A lot of people jumped off the bandwagon. 2 and 2, 2 and 3. People quit. People disappeared. They're done for the year. And then May hit, and then everything just went right. We got healthy, and we finally had a couple of games where we had the same lineup, in there, and when we had all of our guys, we were very formidable. And then St. Louis had never seen our whole team, and they went out and got an extra quarterback. Robert Kent, who's a ringer, A1 guy, NFL guy. After they had just beat us by a field goal in here in Lakeland, so they were worried about us, and you could tell. I told my players, I said, listen, when a team acts out, coming out wanting to intimidate and throw punches and all that stuff, that's an emotional act of fear. That means right now they fear you. The way you handle it was perfect, but that was their way of, they're worried.
Yeah.
And there was 10-0, and we scored 24 straight points, and we never gave up the lead again.
Wow.
Michael, tell us about, from a player's perspective, how excited were these guys? I mean, leading up to the X Bowl, but certainly the win. What in a foreign territory? What was it like in that locker room for those guys? How excited were they?
Well, we were excited. We had prepared. We went up a couple of days earlier, bought a couple of nice extra hotels. We had workouts up there. We kind of did it like a bowl week. It was a banquet before the game. The banquet, they were talking. After the banquet, the coach was talking to the players. And so we were being quiet and and just trying to stay level-headed. And I mean, the locker room was champagne everywhere after the game. But during the game, our guys were focused, and we had a lead at halftime. We said, hey, it's 0-0. We got to go finish the job. There's too many times that we get a slow start in the third quarter and they catch up, and then we're battling in the fourth. And it was, came down to a lot of key plays. And then when you have that red bonus ball, anything can happen. Puts you on your heels, your toes.
Look towards next year. You mentioned the fact that, year 4 coming up, and it's a long, tough season. But with the popularity of the league this year, do you see more teams next year, more games? What do you see changing?
Yeah, we have Savannah, Georgia coming in this year. We also have talking to a team in Louisiana, talking to a couple teams in Ohio and Indiana. So yeah, we're looking at maybe grow it from the 5-6 teams to possibly 10, this year. So and create 2 divisions: the North Division, the South Division.
Oh, that'd be
to
cool.
cut down on travel a little bit.
Yeah.
So I don't see us going past Texas. Also, some of our teams from last year that were in the UIFL, you know, they might consider when it coming to our league this year because they're in a smaller league, and that'll bring us some opponents back like the Florida Tarpons, Corpus Christi Fury, you know, some guys we played our first couple of years. So anything can happen. I mean, the best thing that happened was we had a great season. The championship game was phenomenal. We had over 2,000 viewers online, which blew away the MISL, you know, record and stuff like that. You know, and we had something like 11 foreign countries watching the game, and
really,
yeah, it was
wow.
It was pretty impressive as far as our online stats, and of course the game. You know, there was close to 8,000 at the game. You know, so it was a great night.
What about the team for next year? Any changes, any movement at all? Or are we going to be solid again next year? How's it looking?
We're going to be solid one way or another, but we're going to have some guys get a ring and they're going to want to retire.
Yeah.
You know, Kendrick Stewart, been our captain for 3 years. You know, I don't know if he'll come back. He's getting a job in Atlanta. You know, and some of the guys they got that ring and they want to go out a champion. You know, and it's, you know, it's like we said, like Miami Hurricanes used to say, you know, back in the day, you know, we're not going to rebuild, we're just going to reload. So, and, you know, go out there and we stay with our philosophy, continue to get, like we did this year, like we taught for the first program. We only had like 4 guys from out of town. The rest were Polk County, you know,
really?
Orlando, Tampa, you know, this central area, this central Florida area, but mostly we're way local. We're more local than any team we've ever had. And we were able to practice together, you know, versus guys coming in on Saturday and playing. Yeah. And that practicing together and that continuity is what ended up winning a championship for us.
Interesting kind of mixture of players you have. What's the gamut in terms of when they're not playing football, they've got to do something to put bread on the table? What do they do?
Well, you got a kicker. He's a sheriff deputy for Polk County.
Oh, really?
How about that?
I didn't know that.
Jesus Cortez. Kendrick is a school teacher, PE teacher at varsity, you know, Christian, you know, so, and a coach there.
Yeah.
Adrian Smith's a coach at Kathleen High School. Jason Harmon is a computer tech for a company in Tampa. There's all kinds of guys, you know, that do a lot of different things, you know, from working in restaurants to working in hospitality industry to whatever.
Interesting. Interesting mix. A lot of people don't know, you know, they see the team out there, they got the pads on and all this type of stuff. Heck, you might be at Harry's Seafood Bar and Grill in downtown Lakeland. I just make something up. There's some, what I originally thought of, I can't say, but anyway, maybe sitting next to, there's one of the guys, or there's another guy over there. Heck, one of them might be a server. You know,
You're right.
I mean, it's just all walks of life. That's interesting.
Yeah, and Harry sponsors us, and they're a great sponsor. And
yeah, they
my guys love eating there.
Well, I'll tell you, they get behind, you know, that organization. You know, we look at good corporate citizens, and we deal with that every single day, as do you. And, you know, Harry's is a good corporate citizen. They put back into the community. And, you know, it's interesting what you said about, you know, being a good sponsor, and, you know, they're excellent. You know, they get it.
We've had sponsors with us, you know, for all 3 years, you know, and just continue believing in the program, supporting the program, and our fan club president, Fran, she's built the fan club up. I mean, when our guys go on the road, I mean, they have bags for them, you know, bags of foods and drinks, and it doesn't matter if it's 1 a.m., you know, they see us off. You know,
really?
the wing house prepares a meal for us for the road. You know, so our guys get to the arena to leave, and you know, they've got bags of food with Gatorade in it and nutritional bars, and I've never been on a team, you know, even played on a team where I had a fan club that did that, and they do it out of their own pockets.
Yeah, that's awesome. The community supports you guys, and that's great. You mentioned some of the guys got their rings. And
well, they're going to get the rings. There's going to be a ring ceremony.
There'll be a ring ceremony.
Yeah.
So once they got their rings, they may not come back next year. Do you have any, and Polk County being a hotbed of football, do you have any good top prospects you want to talk about at all for next year?
Just we've got a flood of calls, and when's tryouts, you know, so we'll have tryouts probably in August, September. I go to Brazil for a little bit and coach down there. I do training camp in Brazil for my Cavalier team. Really? And it was my 3rd year going to Brazil. helping build football down there. And yeah, I mean, they had a video they sent me where they were watching the game, like 20 of them with their uniforms on, and you could see them celebrate. And I didn't realize the impact until I watched that video. You know, like I'm down there helping these guys play football, but they actually they're caring about my win here in America. You know,
Yeah.
so
Do they have a league down there?
yeah, yeah, they have a league. I go to the Amazon up there. It's funny because they were building the stadium there in Manaus. They talk about how hot it is.
Yeah.
We do 4 workouts up there, and they were complaining, well, we got to play the games at 6 in the afternoon because it's so hot to play. And I'm like, they're out there doing 2 days in football in Manaus. You know, it's right on the Amazon River and the Black River there. And,
humid as can be.
I bet.
It's brutal. Yeah.
The jungle will talk to you down there. You can hear the jungle.
Whether you want it to or not.
Yeah, you can hear it. And they're down there, you know, supporting the U.S. team. I've seen a guy, I posted on Facebook a picture of a guy with a U.S. with his uniform on, Cavalier and sunglasses, Go USA, and that was some guys from the team I coach, and they're out there supporting the USA team in the World Cup.
Very cool. Well, keep us posted on the ring ceremony too. We'd love to see that, or at least get some pictures of you guys doing it.
Opening night.
Fantastic.
It's going to be opening night.
There you go.
Oh, it is?
2015.
Which is?
Going to be sometimes in March. So 2015, we'll have
Okay.
ring ceremony, race dependent on the rafters.
Like
you know, just like they do in NHL and NBA.
At the Boneyard.
Yep, at the Boneyard.
Michael, thanks so much for joining us.
Well, thank you, and great job at the banquet on
I appreciate
this.
that.
Last, I think it was on Tuesday.
It was an honor to have you there, and certainly you guys deserve, you know, more than honorable mention. Congratulations again.
Yeah, well, I think next year is our year to go there. So, because we were a little bit late this year.
Yeah, the time frame, there was a cutoff, and so it just didn't work out. But yeah,
Yep.
look forward to it next year.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely. Well, ladies and gentlemen, you know, we saw golf, got all sorts of neat stuff, and you know, one of the sports that I enjoyed, of course, I wrestled in high school. Wrestling. Yeah, that's a little redundant.
Yeah.
That's
all
okay.
right. I think they got the message.
Yeah, I think they did too. Well, from McKeel Academy, Full Lad Salem, and I hope I got that pretty correct. I think it's about 99.9%.
Pretty good on that one.
But anyway, little spotlight on one of our local celebrity wrestlers, and you'll enjoy this one. John and Mark, stay with us, everyone. We'll see you in a minute.
I started playing this year for wrestling. I always had that little, habit of just taking my 2 little brothers and, just throwing them, playing around with them. And it was also like a family tradition thing where we would just grab each other and just start throwing each other, on the floor or around. And for us, that was just like a dominant way in the house. So that's how, after a while, I grew that habit. So I just wanted to join wrestling. The one that really inspired me, I think, would be Coach Morgan. He's our wrestling coach. One day, last year actually, I came to the wrestling room. I seen him show the kids, just one, like a couple of moves. And, after a while, I seen what, little kids could do, or, just little techniques that you can just take down someone and just throw them to the floor. And I just fell in love with that. I was like, maybe I could do that. Why not? My favorite athlete, I think, would be LeBron James. He has, to me, he has the nicest shoes when it comes up to sneakers. It would be math because, ever since I was young, I had a habit of, just getting good grades in it. Sometimes I would take it. It would be easy for me, in some areas, and some not. But it always remained as my, best habit that I loved. I volunteer for the wrestling team. We go over to the Lakeland Civic Center for concession stands. We're trying to raise money for our program. Just to help out. Even though I'm a senior, I already have all my credit score, my hours, but I just want to help out the team, for next year's wrestlers. Also, prior to that is that my little brothers will be joining the wrestling team soon, so I just want to keep the program going. So far, thankfully, I have a scholarship in Oklahoma that I've received from Bacone College for wrestling there, and hopefully by this summer, I want to go and visit, check out the school, see if it's nice, if it has all the academics that I want to be in the future. I'm planning to be I want to be a business manager. My biggest accomplishment would be joining the wrestling team, you know, trying to do something that I never done. Because most out through my high school life, I've never, you know, got into a high school sport at all. I just never seen, you know, the really need to it. But, you know, after a while, after seeing, when I came into the wrestling room, I said, you know, why not? It's my last year as a senior. Just do it one time, it wouldn't really hurt. Most of my iPod songs would be, you know, dubstep. You know, I use them most of the time after, you know, before wrestling matches, you know, just to get that adrenaline running, you know, just before a match, just to get the blood flowing. My best friend would say that I'm really outgoing. You know, I've been always the person to, once I put my mind into something, I would go above and beyond for it. One word to describe myself would be humble.
Hey everybody, and welcome back to Sports Central. I was going to say Sports Segment. I got a little tongue twisted today.
Hey, I had it earlier, so it's okay. It happens.
It happens every once in a while. Well, you know, some great guests so far. Michael Mink, wow, he was one
bringing home the championship.
He got the bacon, man.
Back to Polk County.
He wouldn't talk about it. I tried to set it, you know, the question up, but what he'd said off camera was that when they were in St. Louis, there was words he'd never heard before. They were so angry, you know, it's just
from their fans.
Yeah. I mean, really? It's almost like getting like soccer.
Tough environment, and you got to go in there, and they did it. And they went in there, kept their heads down, and they won.
Absolutely.
So,
Florida Department of Citrus.
Fourth segment sponsor. We'd like to thank those folks and everyone they represent.
Well, you know, with the greening and all of the things, they got their nose to the grindstone, and certainly for those of us in Central Florida, it's a critical thing. It's very, very important, and they do a great job, not only just promoting, you know, the benefits of grapefruit, oranges, the citrus industry, but also Polk County, and that's very, very important because it's a huge export, meaning millions of dollars coming right back into the county. So we appreciate them. Absolutely. And they're a proud supporter, sponsor of Sports Central.
Yeah.
Thanks.
So we've got a local update here.
Oh,
we've
absolutely.
Got a lot of things and events to talk about.
A lot to celebrate, as we did this last week with the All Sports Awards and Hall of Fame. That was a gas.
Yeah, it really was. And maybe we just spend a few minutes talking about that because that's such a special event. 14 years we've been putting that event together, and it's become very, very special, and it's really become an event that I think a lot of the athletic directors, the local athletes, this whole community sort of looks forward to each and every year.
Yeah.
So really proud to be part of that, and just as an organizer and as a sponsor of the event, we kind of sit back and get to see these stories unfold on that stage every single night, and you wonder, where are these kids going after that night? And a lot of them make it to the big time.
A lot of them do, and some of them don't, but for all of them, it's a memory. I mean, Ray Lewis, when he was honored as the Professional Athlete of the Year, unfortunately, he couldn't make it, but got real upset with his agent because he wanted to be there. And he had said some things afterwards that you know, he really wanted to enjoy that. And this year's pro athlete, Andrew McCutcheon, with the Pirates having, I think he's hitting like 311 or something like that. I mean, he's lighting it up. He was actually playing at the very same time in Tampa against the Tampa Bay Rays.
Yeah, legitimate excuse not to come out and accept his award, but he had folks there that accepted the award on his behalf. So it's really special.
Dr. Calvin. I can't remember, from his
Cornelius.
church. Cornelius, from his church in Fort Meade. So Believers Redeemer or something like that in Fort Meade. But it was interesting, you know, that his pastor accepted the award on his behalf. I thought that was kind of.
And even with him accepting the award on his behalf, there was some pride there. There was a little bit of a tear. If you look closely, you could see it. And you see some tears up on that stage, especially when it comes to the acceptance speeches. you know, and even us, we sort of get caught up in the moment every once in a while. It's a special night, Mark, all around.
Absolutely. Well, Drew Filios from Bright House Sports Network does an awful lot of play-by-play, but I bet you didn't know this. Old Drew has been doing a lot of shows for ESPN. So Bright House, being the great organization that they are, allows him to do that, and works into his schedule, works into their schedule, and he's good. He's a very good MC. It was a pleasure working with him on the stage and all of that type of thing. But he's got a good career going.
Well, and I gotta say for the record, kudos to you for doing it. You're up there as well as an MC, working alongside Drew, and
well, thank you,
you
John.
do a great job up there, and I think everyone appreciates the efforts involved. So.
Well, it's a very special night, very special day in the lives of many of our Polk County born and bred athletes, and we have a lot to be thankful for here in Polk County. Because I mean, John, that's just unbelievable talent. Hannah Rogers, and I mean, you know, she's four-time All-American, and you know, led the Gators to national championships, and people like that throughout the night. It was just great to see them.
Yep, you're absolutely right. Another great thing happened in Polk County. Obviously, we have to talk about the Lakeland Flying Tigers still. Baseball's still going on. The boys of summer are here still.
I'm going to start a protest group, though.
Really?
Yeah, because
What are you
I want
protesting?
Ron Myers to bring back Thirsty Thursday.
Ron, if you're watching, Thirsty Thursdays, please, for this guy.
Yeah, you know, I've been on them now because they took it away like 3 years ago. I was bummed out.
Well, you could still get I believe, the $1 all-you-can-eat,
Oh,
$1
really?
Night specials.
Oh, like for a hot dog? And
Hot dog, pretzel, peanuts.
Beer and stuff, whatever.
Unreal.
Yeah, soft drinks, anything you want. No, that's I just like the name Thirsty Thursday.
That's catchy.
But I mean, that's exciting because you get a fireworks on Saturday nights. But I mean, the action is good, and you know, Verlander, he came up through that. I mean, Cy Young Award winner, for heaven's sakes.
You're absolutely
right here in Polk County. But baseball, 20th Lake Region Firecracker Baseball Invitational, everybody. That takes place. Firecracker, you think, okay, probably over the 4th of July. You're right, 5th through the 7th. So make sure you check that out. It's at the Lake Myrtle Sports Park on Berkeley Road in Auburndale. If you've never been there, shame on you, because it is a massive park. But Lake Region Baseball, they do this every single year. And it's 18 and under and 16 and under. You see some real talent out there. Hey, and one thing we've got to talk about, if you want to see some baseball throughout the summer months, we have a collegiate league right here in Polk County.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, right in our backyard.
Absolutely. They practice every day, play games. I mean, it's neat.
Yeah, and we all think once spring training's gone, baseball's gone, but it's not. It's here all summer.
Absolutely.
Pretty much.
Hey, and don't forget, everybody, about the Central Florida Games CrossFit Challenge, and that takes place July 12th through the 13th, and you get more information, dial it up, centralfloridasports.com. And don't forget our TV show on, our radio show on WLKF, 1430 AM, part of the Hall Communications Group, every Thursday from 5 to 6. And we have some special sponsors to thank.
Special thanks to some of our sponsors: Hampton Inn, Winter Haven, Hollywood Signs, Abuelos, Hungry Howie's, and of course the Ledger.
Well, everyone, again, if you want more, the latest, the greatest on sports in Central Florida and Polk County, make sure you check us out at centralfloridasports.com. And if you just can't get enough of Mark and John, well, we've got a little treat for you. We're on every single day. Just dial it up, PGTV, and it'll be right there. You can go to polk-county.net with the schedule, but the following dates and times will have re-airs of this show. But don't stop there. Our next live show, July 11th. Some more special guests, some very talented folks. This is Mark Jackson for John Oney and the entire production crew at PGTV. Thanks so much for joining us, and we'll see you again next time.